Stay tuned. We're going to show you all about garlic planting right here. Alright y'all, we are going to plant garlic. I told myself I wasn't going to plant anything. Yep, you got to get dirty. But I couldn't help myself. And I found some amazing garlic from Jerry's garden out in Stillwater, Minnesota. And we have Armenian, we have Chestnut Red, and we have Music. I'm going to show you how to plant garlic, the tools, the costs, the hours, the calculations. Let's do it. I'm going to link where I got this garlic in the description. There's an interview with Jerry, the farmer who grew the garlic in Stillwater, Minnesota. It is October 28th, but it is, well, it's 68 degrees outside, a little windy, pretty clear skies. We're getting some rain in 2 days, so I'm like, gotta get this garlic in the ground. Total calculated out from the calculation, which I will show you how to come about a calculation, the goal. So each clove will produce a bulb. So when you plant 1 clove of garlic, you're going to get a whole bulb. Now I took these apart. It took me 20 minutes to take apart all these bulbs, and got my stakes because I'm going to label. And I am laying across some mixture here that I got, and it's kind of late. I needed something, but I like this mixture. It says for raised beds, but who cares? You can use it in your soil. So when I'm planting the garlic, and I'll show you, you don't go too deep. Whatever the size garlic is, you want to make sure and go deeper than the one size. So say your garlic's this big, you want to go down here. So not very deep, but make sure that some of the compost mixture goes down in the planting of every clove. I keep mixing up clove and bulb. Bulb clove. So I'm opening up these bags, and then I'm using the bow rake and just spreading it out a little bit here. So far this is, I've used 4 bags. The whole span here, this is 43 feet. I'm thinking that it's probably going to be 3 rows. So spacing is going to be 6 inches by 4 to 6. So say you got a clove here, go 6 inches, cloves, 6 inches clove. So basically it's going to be perfect here for the 3 rows. And then I got straw from Nate, a farmer out in Red Wing, Minnesota. Really nice guy. And so gonna put that on top after, because you got to make sure that it's insulated, especially here because it gets so damn cold. So that's about it. So I'm gonna show y'all how to do it, what I'm doing. You can follow along. Alright, we've got our trench here because we're getting rid of the quack grass, of course. We're going to put some rock in here, and then we'll do the fencing. We'll finish that. Deer do not like garlic, so I'm not worried about the deer getting in here. I'm not really worried about any animal getting in here. I've got these stakes because I want to label the garlic, because I have 3 different varieties. So I want to make sure that I have marked what variety is where, so that next year when I harvest and I taste it, I know which one I like better, because I will not remember which row which one was planted in. I just won't. So we've got music here. I love me some music. La música. Alright, so putting that here. We need 6 inches. I've got the tape here out just because I want to try and make it as accurate as possible. It doesn't have to be super accurate. I'm not worried about it. We don't have a huge amount of compost on top. I'm really not worried about that either. I just wanted to make sure that we had something nutrient rich that the garlic could start feeding on. And it certainly can start feeding on this stuff. So I've got my clove. I want to make sure that the bottom is down, and however tall the clove is, you want to make sure and double that when you're planting. It's not super deep, so we'll just start by digging. I want to make sure that I get some of that compost down in there. And here we go. Don't need that anymore. So sometimes it might be, oh, where did I plant that? Where's my 6 inches, right? You can just do a few holes and then do your cloves in there. You don't have to do one at a time. You can do multiple holes and then get your clove in there. Make sure to get that compost on top. Now, I have never really cared too much about the measuring, but I know that some people definitely like to have it. I wanted this measuring tape specifically to see, one, I measured the bed already, it's 43 feet, but if my calculation turned out to be accurate, that the 43 ended up being the 3 rows that we needed here. I picked this spot picked this spot in the garden to plant the garlic because it was softer. When I went through the whole area and I broke it down with the bow rake, and then I went and seeded the cover crop seed. So there's actually cover crop seed in here because I wasn't going to plant garlic, and then I changed my mind and I had to plant something. So I went ahead and I'm going to plant the garlic on top of the cover crop. We'll see if the cover crop probably will still come up, but it is coming up in some spaces around. But when I was doing that basically survey of the garden area, there were some areas that were really hard, and it's been hard in some areas to dig this trench around the garden because we're getting rid of the quack grass inside the garden was the whole purpose of the trench. But anyways, some areas are just really hard, and because garlic is a root, it's growing down in the soil and it's getting bigger underground. I need to have looser soil. I don't want to have compacted soil. That means that it's really tight and really pressed down, and that's harder for root crops to grow in that space. It's going to be harder for the bulbs to get bigger in that space. So I picked an area that I already had. I mapped it out after I figured out where the areas were that were more loose, where was the areas that were harder. This was a looser soil area. And then I already did a soil test. You can take a look at that video to see what came about with that. Always do a soil test before you plant somewhere. You're going to have much better knowledge about what you're working with in terms of the soil and what you need to add for nutrients to make sure that you have great production and you're not coming out empty-handed and you go, oh my god, all this time and this is what I get. So here we go, let's go plant. Some music. We should listen to some music. Yeah, baby. Armenian. I have a feeling this one is going to be really good. I have not had this kind before. So I'm really excited about the Armenian. Leave that in there. These are really big bulbs too. Look at that! Write down Armenian. I'm getting cold. It gets damn cold out here. So you better insulate your garlic. What does that mean? Straw. What's the difference between straw and hay? Well, straw should not have any seeds in it. It should be the second cutting maybe of the hay. It's kind of like the leftover in the field, but you want to use it for insulation. So you don't want any seeds, aka you want clean straw. You don't want any, even like alfalfa seed, right? Or oat seed, if that's what the straw came from. You don't want any weed seed, for sure, if you're trying to have a weed-free garden. So make sure you ask whoever you're buying your straw from that it is clean and it is seed-free, meaning oat, alfalfa, weed, seed, any kind of seed, free. All right, it's been planted. We ended up having more chestnut. I always want to put two O's. Nook. Chestnut in, which is awesome. Those are a lot smaller cloves, so makes sense. But wanted to show y'all really quick here. My phone is going to die. But this straw, as I said, it's going to be about 12 inches, so aka 1 foot high. Okay? But all you do is shake it. You just gotta shake it. Not shake it off, you want to shake it on. Super cheesy. And fluff it up, kind of, right? Because that is going to be the insulation. And it'll just fall apart